Hi, I'm Peter J. Ray. Welcome to Adventures in History. Today's topic is Dearest Mother and Dad. Love, Ruth, John, Mark, and Pamela. Ruth Smallshaw Ray's Letters to Her Parents, 1956, Part 102. Now, Ruth used to send to her parents enclosures, printed matter, newspaper articles, and that's what we're going to get into today rather than her letters, some of these enclosures. The first is from St. Barnabas. This is from the church that they were attending, St. Barnabas Episcopal Church in Bay Village, Ohio. A warm welcome awaits you at St. Barnabas Episcopal Church. If you and your family are not now members of another church, we invite you to come and worship with us next Sunday. Our new building is conveniently located at the corner of Wolf and Bradley Roads. Regular Sunday services are 8 o'clock a.m., Holy Communion, 11 a.m., morning prayer and sermon, 9:30 a.m., senior church school, 4th grade through high school, 11 a.m., junior church school, preschool through 3rd grade. No regular church school services are held during July and August. On the first Sunday of each month, there is a service of Holy Communion at 11 a.m. Our rapidly growing church is serving the needs of the rapidly growing community, which embraces Avon Lake, Bay Village, North Olmsted, and Westlake. We play an important part in the spiritual, social, and civic life of this whole area, and we believe we have a great deal to offer you. For further information, please feel free to call the Reverend William S. Brown at Trinity 1-5937 or drop in and visit us next Sunday morning. Now there's an article from Cleveland Today, the Cleveland News, Tuesday, June 5th, 1956, a column, Cleveland Today, about my father. And then there was also from the newspaper, Bay Village resident elected. John S. Ray heads Cleveland Jaycees. John S. Ray, who resides at 602 Huntmere Drive, Bay Village, was elected president of the Cleveland Junior Chamber of Commerce for 1956-1957 by the Board of Trustees on Monday night, June 4th. Upon being elected, he emphasized that, quote, "The Junior Chamber of Commerce is the best young men's organization in the world, and we are going to direct our activities accordingly." Among numerous projects planned for the coming year, emphasis will continue upon the development of the Port of Cleveland and plans for the Pan American Games in 1959. Ray is a graduate of Oberlin College, where he was an Amos Miller Scholar. While working as a product development chemist for the DeBeckman Company in Cleveland, he attended Cleveland Marshall Law School, graduated cum laude in 1951. After passing the Ohio bar examination in 1951, he became associated as a partner with Stevens and Ray in a general law practice. Since joining the Cleveland Jaycees in 1952, Ray has been active as a chairman of J Show Committee, when the annual art show for the handicapped was introduced, and as a trustee for 2.5 years. In 1955, he received the Ford Award as the Outstanding Trustee. Last year, as first vice president, he was responsible for the activities of 10 committees. Ray, an Eagle Scout, has been active in scouting work as scoutmaster in Lakewood and Sandusky, and also teaches Sunday school at St. Barnabas Episcopal Church in Bay Village. He is married to Ruth Ray, who is active with the J-Sets, an organization of the wives of junior chamber members, and as chairman of the Community Service Committee of the Bay Village Women's Club. They have 2 children, Mark, 3.5 years of age, and Pamela, 2 years old. Other Westsiders elected were 3rd Vice President Don F. McQuilkin of 1201 Webb Road, Lakewood, who is a CPA for M.F. McQuilkin. And there's an article or an advertisement for Your Ivory Soap Laundry. Laundry, dry cleaning, rugs, garment storage, the individual laundry company. And an advertisement for complete home remodeling, plastering, plumbing, painting, electrical, any job. Call for free estimates, kitchen cabinets. And Ruth, there's another advertisement for, she put in She wrote, actually, got 2 lamps for Mark's room walls. A couple of lamps in the newspaper that she showed the picture of. And here's an article, an article from the newspaper. Medical Roundup. Hats off to surgeons who weigh the facts, by Dr. Walter C. Alvarez. Emeritus Consultant in Medicine, Mayo Clinic, and Emeritus Professor of Medicine, Mayo Foundation. Women ask for medicine for fibroid tumors of the womb, and I have to tell them that I never heard of any drugs that would help. Fibroids, more properly called myomas or muscle tumors, are much like the rest of the muscle of the womb. They are much like knobs on a potato, made of potato. One could call the knobs on a potato tumors, but they still would be harmless. Similarly, fibroids are harmless unless they grow fast or grow so big they press on arteries or cause flooding and anemia. These lumps on the uterus are so common that every third woman has one or more. Expert gynecologists tell me that as they have grown older and wiser, they have operated less and less often for fibroids. They seldom operate unless the woman is becoming anemic. They tell me that they are very reluctant to remove the uterus of a woman under the age of 40, and they do not do it unless unusual circumstances compel them to do so. They no longer operate because of a fear of cancer, because now they know that cancer is very rarely grows in a fibroid. When I write in this vein, some of my surgeon friends write to say that often the operation is much needed. Of course it is. I am not talking of such cases. I am talking of youngish women whose only trouble is a tendency to sick headaches or a beginning insanity or vague distress in the abdomen. In such cases, the removal can do no good, and in many cases it does great harm. I take my hat off to the many surgeons who are refusing to perform a hysterectomy on a youngish woman unless they are forced to do so by the presence of certain distressing or dangerous symptoms. Danger in pregnancy. All women of childbearing age should know that there is a thing as ectopic pregnancy or tubal pregnancy. Normally, when the ovum or little egg is discharged from an ovary, it is picked up by the end of the fallopian tube, which runs out from the upper corner of the uterus or womb. The little egg is then carried by a wave-like motion towards the womb where, if it has become fertilized, it should become bedded down and start growing to form a baby. Somewhere along the way down the fallopian tube, the little egg may meet a spermatozoon from the husband, and then it may become fertilized. If it isn't fertilized, it will not grow. Unfortunately, in some cases, perhaps because the lining of the fallopian tube is not perfectly healthy, a fertilized ovum remains in the tube and grows there. Usually after 2 or 3 months, the embryo becomes so big that it breaks open the tube, and then the woman starts bleeding internally. Then a surgeon must operate. Dr. Alvarez cannot answer requests for information or to attempt to diagnose by mail. Now there's an advertisement for Joe Portero, and it says before and after. Can you believe the other photo on this page is really me? I'm the new Mrs. Marie Boyle, and I really feel like a new person after using Joe Portero's wonderful new Minute Facial. You can see the amazing change in my appearance. It can happen to you. Minute Facial costs only pennies a treatment. See Joe Portero on TV, Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, 6:30 p.m., Channel 8, Cleveland. Joe Portero Salon, Playhouse Square. And there's another article in the newspaper that Ruth sent to her mother. It's the Golden Years, Advice for the Wife of a Husband Past 50 by Thomas Collins. This is written for the wives of men who are past 50 years old. If you are one of these, you might find in it a means by which you, as well as your husband, will find the golden years. 1. A husband with or without an income is the most valuable asset a woman has after age 50. His mere existence makes you a wife instead of a widow. His presence guards you against loneliness. Don't minimize that. Loneliness is awful for the woman who is alone after 50. His stature as a husband in the community gives you a social life in a world that doesn't know what to do with extra women, and gives you a ready-made escort to whatever you want to do. Husbands die fast after 50. Start now as one of the vital jobs of your life to keep your husband physically healthy. 2. It is after 50 that your husband will get his chance to sit at the speaker's table, become chairman of the bowling club, supervisor of the packing department, or vice president of the company. And he wants terribly to get there because men are vainer than women. No matter how you've heard it, in trying to get there, he may burn himself out, shatter his spirit, move into retirement as a frustrated old man. Keep watch on what he is wanting and argue him out of his ambition if it is costing too much. 3. Start weaning your husband away from his job by the time he reaches 60. And understand it must be a weaning process. A man's job is his life. You can't argue him out of his concentration on it, and you can't offer him fishing or butterfly collecting as a substitute. Look for an activity substantial enough to give him a second career, like running a store, writing, music, starting a business, or getting into politics. You'll have to do it. He won't take care of his health because he won't believe he'll ever die, and he won't plan his retirement because he won't believe the company will really retire him. 4. Make your husband explain to you in detail the financial situation of the family. Have him show you exactly what you would have in any given year to support you in case he should die first. Demand to know this. It may keep you off the relief rules. 5. Start cultivating friends who are 5 to 10 years younger than you and your husband. They will be around when your contemporaries start passing on. 6. Start thinking in terms of partnership with your husband. You've been rearing the family and he's been holding a job. With retirement, both your jobs are over. From here on, you're really together. Whatever you plan for the future, plan it for the two of you. 7. Consider the possibility that the family and job, however noble, were not everything. In each of you, or in both of you, there may be a spark of greatness in writing, painting, research, politics. You couldn't possibly know until you have the freedom of retirement in which to explore what may be in you. The mature years, age 65 and retirement, are the end, only if you want to call them that. They can also be the beginning. Dream a little. 8. Plan never to live with your children, but live as close by as you can. Start looking beyond the fifth row pew and the collection plate. Religion is a tremendous thing in this life. See what it can mean to you. And when all these things have been done, give a recess to your preoccupation with yourself. Now, Ruth also put an advertisement for this. It's called The May Company's Gigantic Buying Power Does It Again. Solution Dyed Viscose Rayon Tweed Broadloom. $3.95 a square yard, actual $5.95 value. Resistant to stains. Our buyers examined countless samples of tweed broadloom in their search for the best piece of carpet to sell at this low price of $3.99 per square yard. Because all of our stores participated in a gigantic purchase, we are now able to offer this heavy quality solution-dyed broadloom at a price to fit the lowest budget. Buy for wall-to-wall installation or have it cut into rugs as you prefer. And then there's the Cleveland Junior Chamber of Commerce Journal, November 1956, published by the Cleveland Junior Chamber of Commerce. And the headline is, Ray to represent Pan Am Committee at Olympics. JC's to plan 20 committees for the 1959 Games. President John Ray will be a representative of the Cleveland Pan American Games Committee at the Olympic Games this month in Melbourne, Australia. Ray had already planned to be one of the 14 U.S. JC delegates to the Junior Chamber International World Congress, November 9th to 14th in Wellington, New Zealand. He and his wife, Ruth, are to fly the 1,300 miles to Australia and arrive as the Olympic Games get underway. He is devoting 8 days to fulfilling his extensive assignment from the local committee. Ray is accumulating information on non-technical phases of the Games. As Jimmy Lee of the AAU and local committee, and perhaps other Clevelanders will study conduct of the events. Curtis Lee Smith, Director General of the 1959 Pan Am Games, appointed Ray a member of the Pan Am Organizational Committee, and said Ray's duties to the Olympics include helping Douglas Roby of Detroit, president of the Pan Am Sports Organization, to set up meetings with other representatives of the Western Hemisphere nations. Ray will serve as a goodwill ambassador, issuing a special invitation to 29 Pan Am nations to send their athletes and visitors to Cleveland, as Cleveland wants them and everything will be in readiness to receive them. Smith points out that plans call for Cleveland JCs to handle 20 non-athletic committees for the 1959 games. Ray is to supervise facilities for athletes and visitors at the Olympics, make daily reports by airmail to Smith, and give extensive personal and written reviews of his observations for use by local committees when he returns. JCs are to help develop the mechanics of handling various phases such as housing, transportation, ticket sales for all 21 meets, currency exchange, civic guides, and ceremonies. Lee made arrangements for Ray to go into Olympic Village and observe facilities there. Now, in this publication, there's a column by John S. Ray, my father, and the column's name is Ray's Rumblings by John Ray, President. Let's talk for about 71 seconds about the nerve center of our operations, the JC office. It is located on the 4th floor of the Union Commerce Building in the Chamber of Commerce offices. The Chamber not only provides office space to us, they also give us a substantial subsidy each month. We feel extremely fortunate in having such an arrangement. The office itself consists of several desks and typewriters and a batch of filing cabinets, which are usually loaded to the gunwales. Our office staff consists of 2 full-time paid employees, both of whom are real troopers. Our executive secretary, Larry Dill, devotes about 90% of his time to procurement of new members, and the other 10% to office operations. It has been the hope of your board of trustees for many years to have an executive secretary who would devote substantially all of his time to obtaining new members. This year, the dream has become a reality, and we have a good cause to believe that Larry's fine efforts will enable us to get back into the 750 membership range. Our office secretary, Miss Helen Funtek, is a real peach. She is doing a very difficult job with almost unbelievable success. She is responsible for your newsletter each week and digs up all that sharp artwork. Helen does a tremendous number of things, maintains the official calendar of events. No meeting or event is official until the date has been cleared with her. Prepares board meetings, notices, agendas, and minutes, does all billing, is in charge of all office supplies, and maintains all membership records, which is one heck of a job. Processes correspondence, keeps all exhausted rooster records, and does a number of things for committee members and chairmen which the JCs should do for themselves. Helen's work week for the absolutely necessary things she does amounts to over 40 hours. And by the time she takes care of the letters, mimeographing, etc., which the individual committees should have taken care of themselves, she sometimes works nights, Saturdays, and Sundays. I may have exaggerated a little bit here, but not much. So if there is anything that any of you can do to lessen Helen's office workload, for Pete's sake, do it. Now we have a letter to the editor regarding the original publication from Tessa J. Delina, the former secretary of Restless Educational Center in San Juan, Metro Manila, Philippines. Dear Mr. Ray, my special greetings to you and to your family. What can I say? In a month's time, I was able to read at least 3 issues of the SFMC. May I say that I'm hooked to it already, always waiting for the next issue to arrive. I can't wait to read your own story. SFMC number 43 is just perfect. The summer of 1956, because now it is also the summer of 2000. 44 years later, it seems that every time I read a particular issue, I seem to be transported to another world and time and try to absorb what life then was all about. John and Ruth, both busybodies, tried to work out their busy schedules and still have time for their children. Mark growing up to be a quite responsible boy, loving and caring for his sister Pam. Bud and Doris having their own bundle of joy. The newspaper clippings were also quite informative. I particularly liked the one by Thomas Collins, Advice for the Wife of a Husband Past 50. John S. Ray, president of the Cleveland Junior Chamber of Commerce from 1956 to 1957. He really deserves this, as he is quite responsible, hardworking, and intelligent, and I can't help but admire him. It is also good to know that immediate members of your family have already and has started reading your newsletters. I wish you good luck on your forthcoming endeavors and more power to you. Sincerely yours, Tessa J. Dolina, Quezon City, Philippines. To be continued. Well, that concludes today's presentation. Good luck to you with your efforts in family history if this interests you. Finding, preserving, and sharing old letters, diaries, photographs, family movies and videos, and interviewing elderly relatives, while they're alive. You might consider checking out our website, Adventures in History with Peter J. Ray at peterjray.com. So far, we've made 657 history videos in 7 areas: world history, American history, book reviews, poetic tours, Cleveland baseball, family history, and autobiography. There is a donate feature. You might consider making a donation so we can continue making these videos. You also might consider checking out our podcast, Adventures in History, at Anchor FM Peter Ray, REA. If you live in Metro Manila, Philippines, and are looking for a high school, you might consider Res Celeste Educational Center. Res Celeste is located in San Juan, Metro Manila, Philippines, Barangay Maytunas, not far from the corner of P. Guevara and Wilson Street. And at Res Celeste, we specialize in helping young people who have had difficulty in the larger traditional high schools. And it's not just a school, it's a warm, supportive community and a family-type environment. We try to be innovative and creative. And the website is resceleste.education, RESALEST. Thanks so much for watching. Really appreciate it. God bless you. Take care. And I'll see you next time.